Now, Sports Talk with Broads. Here's Hunter Brody.
Wow. And I'm saying wow because of two things right now. Of course, the Flyers winning 7 of 8 hockey games, and they sweep the home and home against the Capitals. And wow, because whatever the hell just happened in Jacksonville with Doug Peterson against the Chargers, it's a pretzel upstairs in my noggin. So as we talk about this, just know that I'm trying to process so damn much, including the fact that this hockey team just doesn't lose anymore. Ton of credit goes to Carter Hart that third period and the team buying into blocking shots. But I thought it was so damn important for players like Morgan Frost to rebound after making a crucial mistake. The Flyers are up 1-0 because of a power play goal from Scott Lawton with getting a nice tip in front of the net, redirection, beautiful. Morgan Frost in his own D zone is trying these cute little plays, and it's like, what are you doing in between your legs trying to make a pass? It's a turnover and it's in the back of your net. That's totally unacceptable. But for a young player like Morgan Frost to keep himself involved in the game mentally, stays along the half wall on the forecheck, just in the offensive zone, I should say, stays on the half wall, gets the puck down low. Now Owen Tippett takes it to the net, passes it to JVR backdoor, and boom, that was a big momentum changer because seconds after that, Kevin Hayes is behind the net after an offensive draw, throws a little sauce up front, and now it's 3-1 with the blink of an eye. The rest is history. And I think it's so important to also value beating a team like the Washington Capitals 2 games in a row with barely any time in between. There's something to be said about the hatred that happens when you see a team in your own building and you know in a couple days you're going south to play them in their barn, and for your netminder to stay strong. For guys like Rasmus Ristolainen and just the penalty kill in general, I'm not thrilled with the penalties that were taken, but special teams important. You net one with the man advantage, get a nice shot on net from the blue line. It gets redirected. They don't need to all be pretty. They don't all need to be tic-tac-toe. Get your stick on puck and see if it can find twine. And Scotty Lawton, this power play specialist, all of a sudden is out there creating some havoc. You know, I'm just proud of this team right now. 7 of 8. It's Saturday, right? It's Saturday with NFL playoffs on. You also have the NBA with the 76ers out west. And the number one thing I was excited to watch today was your Philadelphia Flyers. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. The NFL postseason. We're talking wild card weekend. In the 49ers game, you kind of figured it would be a dud. Seattle kept themselves into it a little bit. Then the fumble happened, and the rest is history. All I was thinking about, I wonder how the Flyers continue to play. iPads are not on the bench. You know, some fool. Actually, at the end of the best show ever, we have a voicemail box set up for the question of the day. And there was actually a fool that didn't listen to our question of the day, decided to leave a voicemail because he was extremely frustrated that we didn't ask John Tortorella, who joins us pretty much most Wednesdays. Not every Wednesday, but most Wednesdays. He was mad that we didn't follow up on the iPad debacle. Dude, you think I really give a damn about the iPad debacle? I don't care. It's weird. It's a little old schoolish because we know where the generations are these days when it comes to having technology on the bench. But you really think I'm going to waste one of my questions on the iPad? I don't care about the iPad. I care about winning hockey games. And I think that kind of segues perfectly in some of the stuff I saw on social media, because there are some Flyers fans out there not happy that they won 7 of 8. And Drew Delengowski is on Twitter, and he says, this stretch of games completely destroyed their draft lottery chances, shaking my head. Not good enough for the playoffs and not bad enough for a top pick what an L. Now, here's my response to that. If the Flyers were in position to be the Chicago Blackhawks or the Anaheim Ducks, and then they ruined it, then maybe I would feel more in that vibe. But they were never going to get Connor Bedard. They were never that bad. Now, I don't know if they're this good, to be fair, but they were never truly in the sweepstakes as one of the worst teams in hockey. And the reason why I appreciate what they're doing is, one, I want my teams to be enjoyable. I'm aware on the current position of the franchise with Chuck, with Danny Briere, with so many things going on, with John Tortorella not liking Chuck, Dave Scott at the helm. It's a mess. I get that. But why do we have some optimism with some players? Well, because Carter Hart can actually play. Well, if you're going to win hockey games because Carter Hart is ridiculously good, that's something that I envision happening down the road in the future because I know the kid's a stud. So if he's going to be a dominant force in the net, and that's why you win a game during a season like this, I can't be mad projecting out what I think he can be, which is a special netminder. This is what special netminders do, and he's going to be extremely valuable to the success of this franchise down the road. If you're winning games because a player who's going to be here in the future is doing his thing, I can't get upset with that. And you've won a lot of games because of how ridiculously good he is. I know Travis Konecny didn't get on the scoreboard tonight, but Travis Konecny on pace to score 1 billion goals this year. I value that because Travis Konecny is probably going to be a part of this franchise as we try and maneuver through whatever the hell this debacle really is with the current state of the franchise. So if players, Owen Tippett, can he get 20 to 25 goals? He's probably going to be here. Cam York, we know Ristolainen, you're not going to be able to get rid of him. Him playing better defensively, albeit the offensive production hasn't really been there. But I know he's overpaid and the contract, it stinks, but he's going to be playing hockey games in this uniform. If he's passable defensively and playing better as of late, he's going to be here. It's hard for me to get irritated and bothered knowing that guys who will be in roles with this team, if they're doing well, Cam York doing well, if guys are playing well, it is what it is. I'm not that aggravated. I'm really not. They're not the Ducks. They're not the Blackhawks. And by the way, when you hire John Tortorella, part of this goes back to expectations. What are your expectations? Well, the moment he was hired, you had to have known that this was in play. You kind of had to know that you weren't going to tank and be miserable. It was never a card that was going to be dealt. So, I think that's also in play. Now, we got this tweet also from Nelson. This team is actually fun to watch. I did not think I would be saying that. I'm curious how the team gets better without needing to go through a long rebuild, hoping a combination of the draft, trade, young players stepping up will happen. You're seeing some young players step up for sure. You talk about drafting Cutter Gauthier. I know Foster is scoring points down in Lehigh Valley. He had, the last I saw the other night, he scored 2 bingos in a game, one on a breakaway, and one with a nice wicked wrister in the slot. Sometimes an awkward-looking skater at times. Like, he looks clumsy out there. I feel like he was on the breakaway, and he almost somewhat fell and slipped as he entered the zone. But, I'm just saying, there's a little intrigue with him. Not as much as Cutter Gauthier, in my opinion. But, there's some things that are there. Defensively is the issue, because I still want to see Ivan Provorov moved. And I don't think you have guys in the pipeline defensively who are just going to be just unbelievable that can step in. Cam York was the intriguing prospect. Yes, Zamula is a name, but I don't think his ceiling is as high as what I'm talking about in regards to, being excited for someone to step in and be a stud on the blue line. So, that is an area that I think they absolutely need some help with. I'm not getting too carried away with, well, where are they? What are they? Let's figure this thing out one step at a time. Let's just see where this season puts us, where we end at this point, and then from there, we'll kind of further the conversation. Let's just kind of focus on the beginning of Nelson's tweet, which is, this team is actually fun to watch. I did not think I would be saying that. That's where we're at right now. I'm enjoying this, and I'm embracing. You got a game 1 o'clock on Monday against the Boston Bruins. I'm expecting it probably to get a little ugly, and that's no disrespect to what the Flyers have been doing, but it's more just a credit to the beast and the juggernaut that is one Boston Bruins. But it's a test, and I'm excited to see what this test is all about. Could you imagine Carter Hart in the TD Garden makes 42 saves? Taylor Hall gets stoned at the goal line, back door. With 7 seconds to go, the Flyers hold on to win 3-2 at the Garden. Dude, I'd lose my damn mind. But just settle down. The frustration that they're winning is kind of foolish. Because the more and more you think about it, younger guys are doing some nice things right now. And you kind of have to figure out who you are as a player. And then Tortorella has to figure out if that is something that is going to be successful down the road. I think Owen Tippett now raises eyebrows way more to John Tortorella than what Owen Tippett was in the beginning of the season. There's a tremendous amount of knowledge that's being gained on who these players are. Morgan Frost, that one's interesting because there's times where it's like, hey, that's awesome. Now, never to the level we were once promised, but can you salvage something out of him? Is that a piece that the franchise wants to work with in the long run? You got Noah Cates, the guy trusts so damn much. When I say the guy, I'm talking Tortsy. He'll put him out in any single spot, it seems, when he needs someone out there that he trusts. Just embrace winning hockey because they're playing the game right. They're playing the game smart. They're playing the game tough, and they're getting results. They're cleaning up some issues. Put a damn smile on your face for once. Whatever you thought was going to happen when they were losing a lot, like getting Connor Bedard, it was never real. All right. Mike, Jimmy, looks like we got some hotline calls. Here we go.
Wow. Just fucking wow, bro. Flyers fucking win 3-1 and we sweep the Capitals and it is glorious, man. And how about that fucking football game? Jaguars and Chargers. Dougie Peterson doing his magic in Jacksonville. And I hope the Cowboys fucking choke against Brady. It is a good day. Have a good stream, man.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike. I don't really know what to do with that, but yeah, the Flyers, they sweep. It's a mental game and it's a physical game when you're playing the same opponent as quickly as they did. And with like Ovechkin, TJ Oshie, you take penalties and Ovi's on the one side just waiting with their stick up in the air going, give me that one-timer, baby. Feed me. Let me rip it. But here's guys flopping all around in the D zone. It brought me back to my prime. Diving on the ice, the puck's hitting your chest. You're smacking it out of the zone. You can hear the boys on the bench banging their sticks as they're hustling to get a change. A new guy comes out. He's blocking shots. He's flicking it up into the neutral zone. They were all over the place. So that's not the only time we've seen that. Then you look at the box score. You look at block shots. Multiple guys have a ton next to their name. It's pretty remarkable. We'll go to the box score with this 3-1 W. The only thing that stinks is TK not getting that point streak going. You would think maybe with the empty net, there was a bit of an opportunity to squeak a cheapie in there. You know what I mean? Block shots for your defensemen. Sanheim, 3. Nick Seeler, 3. Risto, 2. D'Angelo, 2. And he had an apple on the power play. JVR with an assist. Kevin Hayes taking some shots. I'm sorry. I was reading that correctly. Wade Allison with 3 block shots and a bingo. Hey, how are you? I can't believe I'm saying this. Although I can believe it, but I can't believe it at the same time. Owen Tippett with some confidence. I'm intrigued a little bit. He's just a big body, moves his feet, can rip the puck. I still can't sleep thinking about that bingo the other night when he comes into the zone and rips it in between the blue line and the top of the circle, uses the defenseman as a screen, and just rips it twice. What? Excuse me? The kid's got a cannon. All right, let's take another call.
What's up, Rhodes? We have certainly had an eventful night of sports, didn't we? Joel Embiid hits a game winner against the Jazz, really clutch. Jaguars Chargers, one of the most crazy playoff games I've ever seen, one of the craziest playoffs comebacks I've ever seen. And the Flyers, man, this team is on fire. Like, who would have thought, like, a month ago, where this team was, like, dead, like, actually clinically dead, that they would have caught fire like this? And honestly, like, I wouldn't be shocked if they continued this momentum to eventually make the playoffs. I wouldn't be shocked if they fall apart either, but hey, like, the fact that they're actually relevant right now and they're actually on a win streak and Torts got the team with momentum going, it's just an amazing feeling. What a crazy night.
All right, so I guess I'm not the only one that's just all over the place mentally thinking about that football game. Playoffs. I think Tyrone said it best on the radio this week to me. They're about 2 weeks away from being 2 weeks away, if that makes sense. And that general vibe is keep your eye out over the next week or so, and then we can really maybe target it. Because this was said maybe about halfway through the season, right? So the 41 game mark, they're now sitting at 43 games at 18, 18, and 7. So the good old hockey 500. It's not time to go there yet, but you're a couple weeks away from being a couple weeks away. There's still a lot that has to be done before we start talking about that, right? You look at the wild card, the Capitals, which is why this is very big to win these games. They're sitting in that wild card spot with 52 points. And then you have the Islanders with 49 points. The Flyers are at 43. Now, some teams only played 41 games. Pittsburgh only played 42 games. They have to jump multiple teams. There's a lot of hockey that still has to be played. And I referenced this on the last episode. After this Anaheim game, well, you have Boston, you got Anaheim. I think Chicago's in there. Then you start to see a little bit tougher of a schedule. And I'm not saying they can't keep up good hockey. They won't win 7 of every 8. So keep in mind, you got to keep your foot on the gas big time because of the hole you dug yourself early. At the same time, though, it's more about what will they look like. Not they can't win. I'm not saying they can't win. I'm not saying they will win. But I know it'll be more difficult. I know the task will be harder. How does it look? Can these kids continue to play at the same rate? Can Konechny will them the victory in certain games? I know Carter Hart can. And I think this is going to be a full-time season for Konechny. I don't think at any point this season he dies out. Is this an every year thing for Konechny? Well, that's a question I need answered. I need him to do this 3-4 years in a row. Really establish himself as a pure stud and do it for longevity. But you got to start somewhere, and this is a fantastic way to start by really leading this team. But you need everyone rolling on all cylinders here. One guy takes a mini step back, the margin, the team's not built to be able to have one guy have an off stretch, one guy not play well. Your third line center and wing both have a week that's poor. Well, you got to work collectively as a group here. If Konechny's still going off, but Rasmus isn't as good in a certain game in the D zone or on special teams, PK, and whatever it is, well, that could be the difference in winning or losing a hockey game. And that's a very hard thing to ask. So, will it continue? I don't know. But I'll tell you what, Monday, 1 o'clock, I got my alarm set for noon on Monday. Just to be like, yo, bros, get your cup of coffee and get your ass on the couch. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Little afternoon tilt hockey on my Monday in the middle of all this playoff football and a Monday night game that's going to be crazy. So anyway, those are my thoughts on what I saw against Washington. Lots on the paper. PK was good, blocking shots. Carter Hart, Frost responding after having a little uh-oh in the defensive zone. And as a young player playing for Torts, I'm sure you can get in your head. I was thinking this, and I'll leave you guys on this note. When Owen Tippett took one of those tripping penalties, when I think he was going behind the net, and then he was kind of, I guess, trying to follow back up the play. He gets his stick caught in the skates, and he goes to the penalty box, and he's kind of shaking his head. Some guys have longer leashes and whatnot, but I just could imagine the mental battle of playing for Torts when you slip up and make a mistake. And every time I see that, and even if it's not poor body language, it might very well be good body language. But I'm so fascinated knowing that that's an area that Torts loves to target, the mental game. How do they respond after a certain shift that maybe doesn't go so well? And for Frost to keep the puck in the zone along the wall, and then it goes to Tippett, who finds JVR back door. It's like, yeah, this guy, I mean, think about how much he's gone through. He's been through a lot with the fan base, with the franchise, with the head coach. So just good for Frosty. We're going to need him. We need every single inch of every player playing well. Monday, 1 o'clock. Let's go, boys. All right, fellas. Thank you, guys. You're the greatest. Little Saturday night hockey talk. Actually, it's Sunday morning. This puppy's ending at 12:05 a.m. Let that sink in. That's the power of winning 7 of 8. How about that? Catch you guys on the next one.